So today we're going to look at a really simple command that has some potentially big implications. And that is the return command. Now, if you've ever tried to use the return command, the simplicity of it actually might confuse you. Like if I type in, this is a valid return command, nothing happens. Super simple, just the keyword and then one integer. And yet nothing happens. And that is because the return command needs to be used in the context of functions. And I've set up a little example here. The way that it's used in functions is, imagine each item is a function. And if we send a function along here, the return command is like a break check. It actually stops the function from executing. But what's cool about it is you can actually modify that break check. So this might be a little hard to demonstrate, but if we put a ladder there, we can actually break check conditionally. So if we toss it along the wall, it stops. But if we toss it straight on, it keeps going. Oh, and it picked up the other one. So the return command can be used conditionally to stop commands. Again, it's pretty simple, but it's extremely powerful, as we'll get into today. Thing is, I don't know how to use them in that powerful way. I know they can be used. And so we're going to be exploring a bit today to see, oh, that's the wrong one, to see how we can use the return command and see if we can get its full potential out of it. So this is the hologram pickaxe. We made this a few episodes ago. And it basically just turns blocks into holograms. It's pretty cool when it works. Oh, that's right. It's based on the block that drops here. It's not a silk touch pickaxe, so it doesn't drop that ice block. But if we break this with the pickaxe, hologram, pretty cool. We can like walk through it. It's a pretty neat concept. And the cool thing is I think if we shift, oh, how do you do this again? Oh, and then you do what? Oh, yeah. Okay, so you scroll. The controls are not super intuitive. It was more just like a test dummy type scenario. So something interesting is happening here. Whenever I deselect the pickaxe, it rotates the block. But it's not just executing one command to go from here to here. It's actually trying to go from here to here, from here to here, and here to here. It's trying to do all of those commands at once. So with return, we could stop it, you know? We could break check it. And that way, it would be slightly cheaper to run execution-wise, I think. So this is the file I was talking about. It controls the jungle log spinning and other stuff. And there's two problems that I'm hoping to solve with return. So the first one is this overlap. There's a bunch of logic here, or not like that much, but a little bit of logic, and it prevents overlap because what can happen is like, if it's north, it can turn to east. And then if it's east, it can turn to south. And if it's south, it can turn to west. And if it's west, it can turn to north. And if it's north, it can actually loop around. So one of the things that return can do for us is if we insert return into the correct location, we can actually stop the execution after it's changed the thing once. So currently this return one is a lot like placing that ice block earlier. We actually want this to be more like the ladder. And so the way that we're going to do that is we can actually run a command as it ends. So basically we can test if it's north, and if it is, then we'll change it to east. So let me set that up. There's no autocomplete in this setup that I have here. So whenever that happens, I usually just hop back into Minecraft. And I think, oh yeah, okay, so it's if data entity, and then we can do that whole thing we had. Oh, maybe we just want if entity actually. Like that, run, and then we do the return. Yeah, okay, and then we can just run whatever command afterwards. Okay, cool. Actually, I think it's cheaper to use data entity and then check the data from here, but that's a bit technical. Anyways, the way that we're going to check if this works is we're just going to do something real simple. This is what I do all the time. Just say and then some random junk. Some random junk. I couldn't think of anything better. Basically what's supposed to happen is if it hits return, that should break check it, and this should never run if its facing direction is north. In all the other cases, it should say some random junk. So let's go test it out. Reload, probably gonna be doing a lot of that today. And then we need to figure out what direction is facing north. Wait, this uses axis Y, X, and Z. We need a block that has a facing north. Oh yeah, we used furnaces last time. Well, let's make a bunch of furnaces. Oh boy. It's just gonna be a bunch of floating furnaces. All right, which direction is north? This way. So we shall face it north. Double check, facing north. Okay. So now if we turn this into a hologram and we rotate it, I have to jump, I think, because I'm on slabs. Honestly, it's a little bit, little finicky. So it shouldn't say some random junk. Oh, okay. Because you realize the fact that it didn't say that means it didn't execute those commands. That means we're saving like processor power and stuff, which the more commands you have, the more important that gets. So let's rotate it one more time. And I think, uh-oh. Yeah, I think it was supposed to say something. Let's just double check that. No. This is exactly what I was talking about though, because it's like, I don't, like the command is so simple, but it's like, it's so simple that it has large effects, and clearly I don't understand it fully. All right, let me see what's wrong with it. Please don't facepalm. Yeah, saving probably helps. That's pretty bad. All right, fortunately it's facing the correct direction now. Okay, so same requirements as before. It shouldn't say anything the first time we rotate it, but then it should say something the second time we rotate it. Some random junk. Nice. Okay, so we do actually understand what's going on here. So that's awesome. That means we're saving processing power. We're saving all those other commands being run. So now it's up to us to try and figure out how we can like utilize that in other scenarios. Or, well, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here. So because of return, we can actually delete the overlap stuff. We don't need that at all anymore. So that's gonzo. This is gonzo. And then all I have to do is just copy and paste this. Axis Z. Okay, that should do it. Can delete all this now. And it's going to be really easy. Oh, wait. Save. It's going to be really easy to add more. Like, look how much simpler this looks. Oh, it's so nice and clean. But if we want to add more block states in the future, it'll be a lot easier to add them now. So that is a pretty big bonus. Just make sure everything works. Uh-oh. Wait, can you not have more than one return in a command? We're learning things. I thought you could. I thought you could like do multiple branches. Ah, didn't simplify it enough. The overlap tag, which I was using to track it, doesn't need to be there. And in fact, it'll never find it because we deleted it. Aha. So we have a basic understanding of return. That is good. We have to start there at least. But there's more we can do with the return function. In fact, you may have noticed before, there's something here that says fail. I don't know what that does, and I really want to try it. So, I mean, we'll just put return fail. I think it said value, but I don't know what kind of value it wants. I'm just going to say A. Yeah. So what I'm presuming happens is like if we try to rotate something that can't be rotated, maybe it like messes up. So actually we need crafting table can work, I think. So we will break it to turn it into a hologram. Pop. And then, I thought maybe there'd be like an error message or something. Wait a second. Okay, so with if we have like a crafting table like this, it has no block properties. It can't change. Oh. Oh. I deleted it. I need another crafting table. I could just craft one, but it's funnier if I do this, you know? So if we have the crafting table and we want to try and turn it, nothing happens because it has no block properties. Oh, it's not going to show up on the side there when it's a hologram. I guess I need to make one after all to show these things. But yeah, see how it says crafting table, but there's no like block properties. That means it would potentially be executing the entire list before it realizes, oh, I can't do anything. So if we could instead test to see if it even has any block properties in the first place. Yeah, so block state it has, but there's no properties. So we could basically check block state.properties. And if it doesn't find anything, then we can do return fail, because that would of course mean that we don't need to swap any block states because there aren't any. So this should be pretty easy to do. We just copy this thing and we'll separate it a little bit. Change this to unless, and we'll just check if it has any block properties, any at all. And if it has any, it will be a fail, which will prevent running all of these other commands. Oh, I actually should get rid of this one at the bottom. So that is basically just going to save us metaphorical gas if we break check it like that. I'm actually kind of curious what it's going to do to the hologram. Oh, it just, nothing. Nice. I really should get rid of that name tag. Okay, cool. I should probably delete this hologram or I'm going to get really confused. I'll place that back. Okay, so we have a basic understanding of... So we saved a little bit of metaphorical gas when running this command because it ends it early if we need to. It basically ends it as early as possible and doesn't execute any unnecessary commands. But there's only like 6 or 7 commands in that thing, so it's not really saving us that much processing power. So we're going to turn to something a little bit more intensive. Oh, wait a second. I think it's actually back this way. It may be in a data pack, but it also might be in here in our command block basement. Aha. Increase, that says mob attack damage, and it says a bit laggy because it is. Let's just double check. I don't remember which mobs. Oh, wait, that's just the randomizer. Function, attack test. Oh, dear. Execute as anything that isn't the player. That's kind of intense. I should probably at least include type is not item as well. That's a pretty widespread. Okay, well, let's just turn it on. Oh wait, before we turn it on, we should actually take a peek at the TPS, which is the red one. So you don't really need to pay attention to the numbers too closely. Just notice how most of the lines are below that big white line. That's about all that matters. All right, so we'll turn it on and you can see the numbers already got a little bit closer. I think if we go outside during nighttime, it gets pretty bad. All right, let's just go over to where mobs can actually spawn. I can't see anything. Yeah, so it's getting a lot closer. Oh, I tried to F3, but I pressed direction, so it like canceled it. Yeah, I think if we start heading over here, it'll get even worse. Basically, the more mobs it's trying to mess with, the laggier it'll get. Oh, that's not good. No! I'm gonna fly into the water. No! Oh my goodness. Is that because I died? There may be an accumulation factor with all of this. Oh. It's when we're over there, which is probably because of the jigsaw dungeon we generated last time. Okay. Doesn't look like a creeper has blown anything up. Wow, it really splatted. Look how far away everything is. Oh my goodness, there's stuff all the way out here. Oh. Yeah, I loaded in the jigsaw stuff. That's probably making things worse. That's going to mess up our test a little bit. Let's try and go in this direction as much as we can. Definitely thought I was far enough away. Oh wow, even over here it's like maxing out. Yeah, I think the more new mobs that get added, the worse it gets. It gets slower and slower and slower. I think there's less lit up caves over here as well, so it just... Oh. Yeah, I'm not even near anything and it's lagging. Oh my goodness. Oh! Like I said, you don't need to remember the numbers. It's plenty visual. So before we were kind of controlling it within like the same 7 or 8 commands. But we can also think about branches as, oh, I need food. You know, maybe I should eat the food. You gotta be kidding me. What I was trying to say was that we can also look at branches of execution in terms of entities. So for example, if I say hi at everyone, each of these entities is a separate branch. So we could effectively chop off a bunch of these branches. Wait, where did I die? Oh, I think it was over here. So we can chop off those branches using return, because remember, it's still trying to execute the command. So it's trying to do attribute on everything. And so basically, you know, it goes over the COD and it fails the attribute command, but it tries it for every single one. And we don't want it to. We want it to just stop. Oh, okay. I was starting to get worried. I was like, where did I die? I went somewhere weird. I like never go over to this section of the map. Usually if I pass this way, it's because I'm flying over going to, I think the Guardian farm is that way. Not 100% sure. Wait, did I get everything? Okay, yeah, we're good. We're good. Whew, close one. Oh yeah, so we're still sitting at very, very, very high TPS, which obviously is bad. Interestingly, the frames have gotten a little bit better, so that's kind of weird. So my guess is these COD, if we get their entity data, probably have damage modifiers, which is pointless since they can't attack. So this would be a good place to start in preventing them from getting things. Oh, well, hang on a second. Okay, so they don't have an attack damage thing. Look at the green ones. So we got random spawn bonus, follow range, and movement speed. There's no attack damage for it to modify. And that means that it's modifying it probably, not saving it, and then maybe trying again. That would be very laggy. Pretty much just picture the command block function hitting its head on a brick wall. That's pretty much what it's doing right now. So we should fix that with return. So first thing we want to do if we want to separate those branches is we actually want it to be executing as everything from outside of the function. And that way we can just chop off the parts of the branches we want to chop off. Now I have a special tag here that I made for Pokemobs, which is what we're using here. So it will target anything that's a mob. So it'll ignore items, arrows, you know, things like that. And then within the function, we will further break off certain branches. So first off, we should probably just start with the fail state. That is going to give us the most gas saves, metaphorically speaking. So we're trying to modify generic.attack damage. So if it doesn't have generic.attack damage, then we should just return fail. So that should chop off all of the unnecessary COD and other creatures that don't even have attack damage. So I'm curious how much that small change makes already. We're gonna go to the back of the island here. So presumably it shouldn't be trying to modify those squid. Actually, wait, we can't go back here. That's a terrible example. The whole point of a control is that we go to the same location. So, is it any better? Let me pull up a comparison here. This is worse. That may be simply because it's more efficient to do like something like say at E in a data pack than in a command block. So that might be where that's coming from. Yeah, so we're one step further away from the promised land of the better frames. What we need though, because I think we still have more potential for saving processing power here, we need something that does have attack damage. Yeah, like that zombie in the distance. I need to type zombie before he gets here. There we go. I don't know how I missed that. Okay, so presumably he should have attack. Hey, wait a second. The zombie doesn't have the modifier. Uh-oh. Well, maybe that's the cause of the lag. So we're going to need to add a way to check if they've already been statted, basically. So to do that, we need this UUID here. I'm going to write this down. Oh my goodness. I was just looking at this thing. There's name, Talon, attack. That seems like it'd be a little bit easier than all these numbers. Also, there was a creeper there, I guess. Snuck up on me. So all we gotta do is just slap an additional check on here. So most mobs, like COD, it'll fail. And then let's say it gets to a zombie that has already been statted. It'll find this Talon attack and it will fail. And that, gotta make sure and save, that should cut down hugely on how much we're running this command. So I want to see this real time if we can. We'll see. I don't know how big the effect is going to be, but we'll reload and let's watch that milliseconds thing. So it's at 56. Oh, it didn't drop. It should have. It should have dropped a lot. Oh, wait. All is not lost. I've learned something. So I have two command blocks here, and we're going to compare something. So the command on the right here is how we've been doing things. You know, data get, attributes, and then we look for this NBT tag. And if we open up F3 and take a look at this middle number, I did a bunch of optimization. That's why the base is so much lower. But we're sitting at 28 as the average. And if I go ahead and flick on this lever, we will see creeps up a little bit, and we're getting spikes too, which I don't actually know what's causing that. But we're 33, so we're 5 milliseconds on average. And remember, small changes in here are big changes in the game. Oh, 6. It just keeps going up. So this, I've learned, is not the most efficient option available to us. There's a second option. So it turns out this attribute command that we've been using actually has a get function, and we can get the exact same information. Oh, it looks like the base has actually crept up a little bit. Some event must have happened. So it was probably only like 2 or 3 milliseconds above the average. But check this out. If we turn on this this secondary option, a lot less spikes, and it only goes up 1 millisecond. So that means it's like a third. Wait. Oh, it dropped down to 31. Yeah, way less of an impact. It's crazy. It's the same command. It's just retrieving. Actually, arguably, this is retrieving more information because it actually gets the attack damage back. This one just checks if it has it. Like, I would, to be a perfectly fair test, I would actually have to add like more stuff. Modifiers. I would actually have to add more stuff with the whole like Talon attack thing, which would be more stuff to match against and would make it slower. So this is clearly better. The problem is that this attribute command cannot be slapped inside an execute command. So we can't do execute attribute. It doesn't work, right? We can do the if data, but that's super leggy. Except there is a way to retrieve that information using return. So in execute, there is actually a pairing function with, or not like a function, but like a subcommand that basically lets us retrieve those numbers, those integers that we return with a function. So we can basically run a function and like check whether it failed or not. So if we return fail, this test will be false. So we can actually make a function that uses this attribute to check whether stuff happens. So we're going to need to do a little bit of nesting. So we're going to need a new command, and I'm just going to copy and paste this in. Now, because we can't put this in an execute command, we can't do return one. We actually have to do return run command, but that's going to do a success check, and it's going to effectively return one if it succeeds. So we'll just do return run execute. And then we're going to do another command, pretty much the same thing, except for instead of modifier, we're going to just check if it has base attack damage at all. And once again, we'll do return run, which will return an integer of 1 if it succeeds. So we're just going to slap if function in here with the names that I made. Actually, get Talon attack is going to be unless, which you can do as well. And we're effectively going to be running 2 functions for every mob. But my hope is, because this is a lot more cheap to run, then it's going to be fine. Oops, change the order of those. It should check if they even have attack damage before it continues. Okay, so now we can get rid of these other things. I'm just going to comment them out. That's what that little hashtag is. Remove this tag, because that's how I was trying to track it before. And now we're going to check what kind of performance hit we get. So we're starting at 31. Both of the levers are off. And we're going to, actually, let's reload while we can see the changes. 31 to 32. It hardly makes a dent. That's amazing. Oh, I'm not getting the little mini freezes anymore either. That's one thing about the other method. I was getting these like, I don't know, like micro freezes kind of. Let's go check out our control area. And so even like my frames were pretty high and like the TPS was semi-okay, but the mini stutters were just not great. There's a little bit of mini stutters, but I think that's actually just loading at the beginning. Yeah, this is smoother. Oh, I forgot it's not much of a control because I did all the optimization stuff. But I mean, we saw it back at the base. It literally made 1 ms of a difference. That is huge in how small it is. You know what I mean? Oh, dude, this actually makes the whole attribute thing for Pokemobs. Uh-oh. Where's my... No! The amount of times that I've died this episode. Oh, boy. The crazy thing is this has even bigger implications than what's contained in this episode, because ideally we would be running that attribute command. We'd be running it for all of the attributes that a mob could have, because that's the whole point of Pokemobs. You know, you give them different stats, right? And because this is such a low effect, you know, it doesn't mess up the TPS too badly. That really makes this idea a lot more plausible. That is crazy, dude. So in the end, it kind of seems like we learned that return is not necessarily so much an optimization thing, although you can use it for that. If you have like multiple commands and, oh, I should turn this off. If you have multiple commands in a function, you can definitely use it to save some runtime. But being able to return the success of a command that normally we couldn't do that for with the return command is pretty powerful, because then we can just use any optimization we happen to know of, you know? We can just put any command we want in there. Super powerful. Back down to 29 ms in the daytime. That is ridiculous. Okay, well, I'm happy with that. We learned a lot about the return function, which I really wanted to do because, as you can see, such a simple command, so universally useful. Definitely something you want in your back pocket. There is actually technically more you can do, because you can actually return more than just like 1 or 0. You can actually return like 2 and 3, and there's a whole like execute store, and then you can like retrieve it, but we'll leave that for another time. So just remember, if you ever need to break check a function, use return. And if you ever need to pass some information along that you couldn't otherwise pass, you can use return as well. Kind of failed at the end there. Well, anyway, that is going to be it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode about return. Catch you next time. Later.